Police in Lee County, Virginia are investigating the deaths of a police officer and his cousin as a murder-suicide. Plus, the black boxes have been recovered from Sunday's plane crash in Ethiopia that killed 157 people. We have the latest details. And yesterday, the Knott County Fiscal Court met to make moves towards hopefully ending the county's partial government shutdown.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. Your time is 6:31 on Tuesday. It's March the 12th. Thank you for tuning in to Mountain News This Morning. I'm Will Puckett. Well, today is setting up to be a beautiful day just like yesterday, but it doesn't last for long. So Brandon is going to bring us the good news of what to expect today, and later on he'll bring you all the bad news. But Brandon, good morning.
It's like the old movie, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, Will. But good morning to you, my friend, as we take a look at the last 6 hours of the satellite radar loop. Only a few clouds this morning, so no major issues as you head out the door. It's cold, so grab that jacket. I'll show you temperatures here in just a second. Buffalo Mountain, though, here in Perry County, all quiet. McKee down in Jackson County, all quiet. And we head on over to Whitesburg and Letcher County, all quiet there as well this morning. People not moving around too much yet. 20s, 30s, close to 40 in some spots, so it is a chilly start to the day. Good news is sunshine and 50s, maybe mid to upper 50s in some locations, so get out there and enjoy it. I'll have the rest of the forecast coming up here in just a few minutes. Will?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. Well, in Southwest Virginia this morning, police are investigating the deaths of a Big Stone Gap police officer and his cousin as a murder-suicide. Virginia State Police found 21-year-old Bailey Smith and 26-year-old Emery Connery shot inside a vehicle along Highway 23 in Lee County Sunday morning. We are told there is no evidence that another vehicle or individual was involved in the incident. The town manager in Big Stone Gap told Carolyn Corrigan the loss of Officer Bailey is devastating for their entire community.
By Monday morning, the flag outside the Big Stone Gap Police Department was at half staff. In Officer Bailey's patrol car in the parking lot. Food on the table for officers mourning the loss of their co-worker. Town manager Stephen Lawson says it's a loss that hits home.
Your heart just sinks when you know you got a 21-year-old, person in your community, whether they're an officer or not, but when they've been serving their community and loved being a police officer, he would have did the job for free. And, it's instant tears and, it really affects you. It affects our whole community.
Virginia State Police back on scene Monday afternoon. We're told Officer Smith was one of 2 victims, the other 26-year-old Emery Connery. Both were found dead Sunday morning in a truck that crashed here along Route 23.
My police chief informed me about 6 o'clock that I needed to come to the scene, that there's a possibility that one of the passengers was one of our officers. And that was confirmed that we lost Officer Bailey Smith, and there was another passenger in the vehicle with him, his cousin.
For those who knew Officer Smith for years,
the biggest thing that I personally will miss is just that big grin.
Like family friend Shug Hall, it's heartbreaking.
And he is such a fixture in the community. He didn't know a stranger here where he'd grown up, and he could just mingle with the people and connect. And he's just awesome. He's an awesome addition to our police force in town, along with being an awesome person. He was proud of being a police officer in town.
He just lived life, and we lost a really good guy.
State police are not releasing any information about who the shooter was. The bodies have been sent to Roanoke for an autopsy. Funeral arrangements for Officer Bailey have been set. His visitation will be from 5 until 8 p.m. Wednesday at Union High School. The funeral procession will leave Gilliam Funeral Home in Big Stone Gap at 11 a.m. on Thursday. The graveside service will be private. Well, the black boxes have been recovered from Sunday's plane crash in Ethiopia that killed 157 people. They will hopefully give investigators more information as to why the jet went down. Here in the United States, Senators Dianne Feinstein and Richard Blumenthal are calling for all Boeing 737 MAX 8s to be grounded until we know more.
Boeing builds fantastic airplanes, but even if this is the same thing as the Lion Air accident 6 months ago, it is very easily solvable.
The pilots of both this jet and the Lion Air jet that crashed 6 months ago reported technical difficulties. The two planes appeared to struggle to gain altitude before making a steep nosedive and crashing less than 15 minutes after takeoff. Well, the Federal Aviation Administration is now responding to growing concerns over Boeing 737 MAX 8. The crash in Ethiopia that was the same type of jet that crashed last year, killing 189 people, and it's the second crash in 6 months. Multiple airlines around the world are grounding the airplane model.
I've never said that, hey, it's unsafe to fly a particular model of aircraft, but in this case, I'm going to have to go there. So, yeah, I would watch for that airplane.
The FAA says it is too early to tell whether the two crashes are linked. However, they are ordering Boeing to improve the flight control system on the MAX 8 and 9 by next month. Well, our Greta Van Susteren has reported on many crashes and has done airline crash litigation when she was a lawyer. So we asked her why these U.S.-based airlines are continuing to fly the plane.
I think it's also important to know this. I've talked to some pilots, one who was recently a commercial pilot, and he said you can't underestimate the importance of how rigorous the training is of U.S. pilots. And it was not to take away from the training of the pilots on these other flights, but U.S. pilots have very rigorous training. And if it's this anti-stall and the autopilot, is that what would seem the most predictable thing is that you disengage it and then you manually fly the plane. So U.S. pilots have an incredible amount of training, and even if one of these planes had this trouble here in the United States, is that what you would expect is with the rigorous training is that they would resort immediately to disconnecting or doing what's necessary.
Moving on this morning, a medical resident at the Quillen College of Medicine in Tennessee was among the 157 people killed in the Ethiopian Airlines flight crash Sunday. Dr. Manisha Nukavarapu left for Kenya this past Saturday for what she called the best vacation ever. She had been talking about her trip for weeks. She was excited to see her sister in Kenya, who had just given birth to triplet boys. She was known for being friendly to everyone and being someone who could draw the entire group of residents together.
I wish I could have made a better goodbye had I known about this, but that's one thing I regret. I could have spent more time with her as a friend, but nothing can come back. That's the bitter truth.
Her colleagues remember her as a very intelligent physician and a very good doctor, and someone who was easy to work with as well as get along with. Well, meanwhile, some scary moments for passengers on a flight out of Lexington yesterday afternoon. Officials at Bluegrass Airport say a United flight heading to Houston had an emergency just after leaving the Lexington airport, forcing it to turn around back and land. It is not clear at this point what caused that emergency. Airport officials say they are working with passengers to get them to Houston. Well, yesterday, the Knott County Fiscal Court met to make moves towards hopefully ending the county's partial government shutdown. On the agenda, a 2% occupational tax and a 4% insurance license fee. The occupation tax did not pass. Judge Executive Jeff Dobson says he is hopeful it will work in balancing the budget. The county has more than $12 million in debt.
Property taxes were going to increase 16–18% in order to cover the Sportsplex bond payment. And I felt that would have been a lot more of a burden on the people than this was.
Now, no new money from this will come until October 3rd. In the meantime, the county will continue to operate the way it has in a state of partial government shutdown. Well, the Breathitt County Fiscal Court saga moved into a circuit courtroom yesterday morning. Last week, the county judge executive sued 3 of his magistrates for not approving his nominee for a county road supervisor. At 9 yesterday morning, both sides met in a courtroom where the judge did not come to a concrete ruling. I bring you more. The judge's ruling, or lack thereof, left one side somewhat confused.
While we leave this hearing a bit puzzled as to where to go from here based on this judge's interpretation.
But the other side says they got somewhat what they were looking for.
Our basic response on behalf of the 3 magistrates I represent is this is a political question. Circuit judges should not get in the middle of political questions. Let the fiscal court resolve it itself.
The battle is over the county judge's appointee for the county road supervisor, a person the magistrates do not oppose.
We have no problem with his nominee.
It is the price at which the judge wants to hire him, $55,000 a year, that they question.
It's just the money. The money, it's all about the money.
And while no firm ruling was handed down, the judge executive and his lawyer say the judge is telling both sides to find common ground.
This judge cried out in a way that so many people in this community have cried out for so long, and that was for compromise.
A ruling the magistrates take as a win.
The judge ordered these people to have coffee together, which is the right decision. They need to work this out themselves and not clog up the circuit court with a political dispute.
Leading one side to say it's a win and the other waiting for a written determination. Now, the judge said he is considering coffee twice a week, but was holding off for the time being. It's 6:41. Brandon's been chugging his coffee, and I'm going to get mine once we close this show. So let's toss it over to him on the weather wall.
Listen, coffee is all you need, except for maybe some pancakes. It's National Pancake Day. Outside WIMT this morning, things are fairly quiet as we head out the door. That's going to be a good sign for you on your drive this morning. No wet roads, no fog, no major issues, just a little bit of cold air in place. 26 Ashland, 35 in Pikeville, now 31 in Hazard, 30 in Monticello, 34 in Jacksboro. Not the warm spot anymore. It's 36 and 37 there in Jackson and in London. So the almanac today, 56, the forecast high, the average, the record of 85 set back in 1990. Take a look at the appcast, and we are going to see temperatures climb quickly as the sunshine makes its way out. We'll see sunny clouds throughout the day and temperatures in the mid to upper 50s. Will?
All righty, well, we will have stories that are trending on WYMT.com next. As always, thank you for joining us right here on Mountain News this morning. One boy in Tennessee has a deep admiration for police officers and kindness. We will show you how he combines the two. And never before exposed to the Earth's atmosphere, 50-year-old moon samples are going to be studied. We will tell you more.